Bowman's seat of Bowman in the House of Representatives. And so he's been working hard in recent weeks. I know I've watched him buckle a bit under the load of his effort, but he's certainly visited many sites and people throughout the Redlands. So we're very pleased that he came along tonight to address our meeting. Please make Shane Clarke welcome.
Everyone uneducated.
Please use the mic, mate.
Yeah. All right, so welcome everybody. Acknowledge the traditional owners of the land. Okay. I'm not going to go into a spiel about where I'm from, what I've done. It's too broad. Let's just say I've travelled this country from the northwest of Western Australia, the southern tip of Western Australia, inland of Western Australia, out to the eastern goldfields and all the eastern seaboard in between, married in Wollongong, the whole 9 yards. I don't need to go on about this United Australia Party because, let's face it, you've seen the adverts, you've watched the YouTube channels. I can say that I know how the rural areas are doing it tough. I grew up on a 25,000 acre sheepstud. I know how our veterans are doing it tough. I've served 7.5 years in defence. I know how families are doing it tough because I'm a family man. I know how businesses are doing it tough because I've tried to run a business, right? So I joined the United Australia Party because I looked at the policies and I thought, yes, this party has policies that can drive our economy and drive our people into prosperity. We generate 50% of our GDP just from the working class, middle class and businesses in Australia. Not big corporations, us collectively. Pulling money out of our pocket and going into a business and spending it is what drives our growth. But the problem with our country at the moment is we're driving growth, bringing in 400, 500,000 people, and we're not catering for it. We're not building the infrastructure, and we're congesting our cities to such a point where we have a mental health problem. Seriously, it's a problem. Just driving to work. If you want to go down, if you want to keep going down that path, keep batting for the same parties, because we're not going to fix it. So we have a tax policy which is a zonal taxation. Get people to move out in the regional areas. There's 20% less tax. Anything under 200 over 200 k's out of the city. We want to get people moving out there, take services out there, take business out, get the regional areas to vote. 85% of our economy in this country comes from a regional area. Let's start looking after them. If that dies, we're dead. Okay? Immigration, Cameron, he's got a lot of good policies. He's almost identical to us. Excellent stuff. Immigration, we want to tone it right down. Well, I'm not racist. I'm married to a refugee. So don't think that the party's racist, all right? We want to tone the immigration. We're not going to pick race or creed or colour or religion. It's not about that. It's about us having a humane lifestyle in our cities and that at the moment. So we want to tone the immigration right down and build up our infrastructure until we can actually cater for the growth of them. Now, I've seen a lot of growth in the Redlands, and I'll touch on a little bit that later. Entitlements for retired politicians. There's a dodgy one, huh? So you do your 3 years, you do your 6 years, you walk out. Thank you very much, Bromley Bishop. Here you go, $300,000 a year, office, driver, car, the 9 United Australia Party. We're all committed. All 151 candidates across the board are committed to stopping the entitlements of retired politicians. That money can go back into the school system, poverty, or homelessness. That's what we want to do with that money. That's coming from us. I am sick to death of seeing a school teacher putting their hand in the pocket and putting money out to buy a child a book and a pen to go to school with, and yet we look after refugees better. I'm sorry. Like I said, my wife is a refugee. I'm not racist, but let's get a few facts straight first. We can help people. We can only help people after we've helped ourselves. And that's it. If you don't have money in your pocket, how are you going to help your neighbour? It's that simple. So one way we want to do that is to do the tax deductions on home loans up to $10,000. That gives everyone a bit of a kick. You get that money back, you can spend it back in the community, you can do renovations, you can help young people get into a home. We want to do the zonal taxation, as I've just discussed, 20% lower, and we want to get rid of the provisional taxations in the businesses and make a due date process instead. And that way, businesses are really struggling, I'll touch on that too. That way they can put that money, because a lot of businesses borrow against their home. So the money they're making, they can put it into their offset account, bring down that mortgage a little bit, have the money there. They know how much tax they need to pay and they can keep that money aside. It's not rocket science. It's not rocket science, okay? All right. Some of the other points we do is electricity prices. Does anyone know why it's so high? Well, because overseas corporations came in that run the electricity network and said to the government, here we go, we're going to upgrade the electricity network, it's only going to cost you $50+ billion. And they've turned around and said, well, we can't afford that. So they've said, well, no problems, we'll give you the money. So we're paying loans out on our electricity network at nearly 10%. We want to refinance those loans, bring it down to about a 2% off Wall Street, whatever, and then do write-downs on that loans and make the system, bring it back. That kind of stuff. It's pretty simple. Mineral processing, Cameron's touched on it. We want to process all of our ores, minerals and stuff here. Well, come on, Cameron, that's our policy. No, it's good. And you know how, it's a very simple process. We want to build the processing plants down in South Australia, down in Victoria, those states that are struggling in the economy. You know how we want to do that? $2+ trillion tied up in superannuation that we pump the money out overseas into Europe, China, Japan, into America, bring that money back, build the processing plants, the super funds get the processing money back on that, and everyone benefits. All the fund holders, instead of pulling 5%, 6%, or I'll pull 13 because I'm in an industry fund, but so get into an industry fund, get out of the banks, get out of the AMPs and all that, get into an industry fund, you'll be better off, and then put that money, and then the people can benefit from that. The $75 electricity payout that the government gave you, what a reward, right overawed. You know, how's that going to help you 2 months down the track when you've still got no money in your pocket? Okay? NBN, there's another failed project. Imagine what we could have done in the Redlands for $55 billion. We'd have a nice new hospital. We'd have nice new rail lines. Ricketts Road, we'd have that upgraded. We'd have a new bridge over Tingalpa Creek. Sweet, we wouldn't have a problem. We could bring more people in. I want to mainly focus on the Redlands because that's my area, but my policies is for all Australians across the whole 9 yards. It doesn't matter where you come from. We're very staunch in our commitment to Aboriginal people. 1 in 5 deaths in Aboriginal, we can do better than that. I've got Aboriginal friends, we can do much better than that. What's the point of us looking after people overseas when we can't even look after our own communities here? Unacceptable. You know, I left Sydney to move up here because I was living in a 430 square metre house with a 10-metre frontage, 2-bedroom, family of 4, 6 it was with the older kids now. We're in there. Everyone had 3 cars. Every house down that street had 3 cars. 1, 2. You'd drive down your street, you could not park a car. You struggled. And yet I come to the Redlands and I go down to the shoreline or down to Mount Cotton out here, and there is 400 square metre blocks right through the whole area. And the green space that they put in, straight down to water courses. That's really smart thinking. So there's the future slums, people. Unbelievable. I left it in Sydney, come up here, and then I see it straight again. Just a wrong... we can do better. We get people moving out of the regional areas. So we'll get people moving out of the regional, take the services out there, move out there, we digest the city living. We all have a bit of build up the infrastructure, and we can do that with our policies, right? There's not much more I can say on that. You know all the policies. You've seen the adverts. They come at you thick and fast. If you turn Channel 7 on in the morning, the mineral processing one's easy. Superannuation's easy. You know, that's about it. That's what I can say on this. Otherwise, we can talk all night, and I don't want to do that. All right.